पापा, मुझे शादी करनी है।
ठीक है, कर ले। क्या शादी करेगा? अभी 10 साल का हुआ नहीं, शादी करेगा?
आपने भी तो शादी किया है, मैं भी करूँगा।
बेटा, शादी करने की एक उम्र होती है।
मुझे कुछ ना पता, मुझे बस शादी करनी है तो करनी है।
बेटा, पढ़ाई लिखाई कर, आईएएस बनकर देश का नाम रोशन कर, उसके बाद शादी करना।
आपने पढ़ के क्या उखाड़ लिया है? नल्ले बैठे हो घर में और किताबें ऐसे पलट रहे हो जैसे किसी कॉलेज में प्रोफेसर हो।
पापा से ऐसी बातें करेगा? इतने बड़े हो गए हो।
मैं ऐसी बातें ना कर रहा, आप करवा रहे हो।
करवा रहे हो? मतलब क्या है तुम्हारा?
मतलब साफ है, न काम के हो न काज के, दुश्मन अनाज के।
बेटा, इतने भी बड़े ना हुए हो कि ऐसी बातें करोगे। बाप है तुम्हारे।
बाप हो तो शादी करवाओ।
ना करवाऊंगा।
शादी करवाओ।
ना करवाऊंगा।
शादी करवाओ।
ना करवाऊंगा, ना करवाऊंगा, ना करवाऊंगा, ना करवाऊंगा।
शादी करवाओ, शादी करवाओ, शादी करवाओ, शादी करवाओ। कल मुँहे, एक ही मेरा दुलारा पोता है, शादी करने के लिए इतना जिद कर रहा है तो कर दो ना।
अम्मा, अभी बिलुआ बच्चा है।
तो मेरे मरने के बाद शादी करेगा? मेरा भी सपना है कि बिलुआ की शादी देखने के बाद ही मरूं, अपने परपोते को अपनी गोद में खिलाऊं। कल मुँहे, बिलुआ की शादी जल्दी कर, नहीं तो तेरे गुर्दे पकड़ के झूल जाऊंगी। मेरी प्यारी दादी माँ।
पगली, जल्दी इधर आ। अरे ओ पगली, मर गई क्या उधर?
बहू के बारे में ऐसी बात करते हैं, तमीज नाम की चीज ही नहीं है तेरे अंदर।
भाग्यवान, अरे ओ भाग्यवान, तनिक इधर आओ।
आ गई पगले।
बहू को भी तमीज सिखाओ।
बहू को क्या तमीज सिखाऊं, वो तो है ही बदतमीज। सासू माँ, आप मुझे बदतमीज बोल रही हो? ना बहू, मैं तुम्हें बदतमीज ना बोल रही, डायन बोल रही हूँ। हाँ, मैं डायन हूँ। तुम्हारी अम्मा तुम्हारे सामने मुझे डायन बोल रही है। ऐसी बकटेटे जैसी शक्ल बना के क्यों बैठे हो? कुछ बोलते क्यों नहीं?
अम्मा, डायन नहीं बोलते।
तो क्या चुड़ैल बोलूं?
ये ठीक है।
क्या?
नहीं, ठीक नहीं है। ना 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 ना।
तुम सब सास बहू के झगड़े में पड़कर मेरी शादी भूल गए। चुप रहो। यहाँ मुझे डायन और चुड़ैल बोला जा रहा है और तुझे शादी की पड़ी है। शादी, शादी, शादी।
There was a time in Daniel's life when every morning felt exactly the same. The same alarm, the same tired eyes staring at the ceiling, the same feeling that life was moving forward for everyone except him. But one night changed everything. It happened at 2:17 a.m. Daniel sat alone in the dark corner of his tiny apartment, surrounded by unpaid bills, empty coffee cups, and silence so heavy it almost hurt. His phone screen glowed in his shaking hands. Another message from his boss. Don't bother coming tomorrow. We need someone more reliable. He read it again and again. In that moment, something inside him broke. Not because he lost the job, but because deep down he knew the truth. He had lost himself long before he lost the job. The boy who once dreamed of becoming successful. The boy who promised his mother he would give her a better life. The boy who believed hard work could change everything was gone. Or maybe buried. And as tears slowly rolled down his face, Daniel whispered the one question millions of people are afraid to ask themselves. How did I become this person? 3 years earlier, Daniel was full of ambition. He had moved to the city with hope burning in his heart. He wanted success, freedom, respect. He wanted to prove that his difficult childhood did not define his future. But life hit harder than he expected. Jobs rejected him. Friends disappeared when he struggled. Rent increased. Pressure grew. And little by little, disappointment turned into exhaustion. Daniel stopped trying. At first, it happened slowly. He delayed important work, slept too much, ignored phone calls, told himself he would start tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month. Then one day he woke up and realized years had disappeared. The worst part was not failure. It was watching himself become someone he no longer recognized. Every night he scrolled through social media, watching other people succeed while he sat trapped in the same room, living the same day over and over again. He hated himself for wasting time, but he felt too tired to change. His mother used to call him every Sunday. "Are you eating properly?" she would ask gently. Daniel always lied. "Yes, Mom, everything's fine." But after every call, guilt crushed him, because he knew she still believed in him, even when he stopped believing in himself. One rainy evening, Daniel received another phone call. This time, his mother sounded weak. Very weak. She tried to hide it, but he could hear the pain in her voice. The doctor had found problems with her heart. Daniel froze. The room suddenly felt smaller. His chest tightened. After the call ended, he stared at the wall for almost an hour without moving. Because for the first time in years, reality hit him harder than fear. His mother was getting older. Time was moving, and he was still waiting for life to magically change. That night, he looked around his apartment and saw the truth clearly. The dirty dishes, the unopened books, the unfinished goals, the empty promises. He realized something painful. Nobody was coming to save him. Not luck, not motivation, not some perfect moment. If his life was ever going to change, he had to change first. But even after realizing that, Daniel felt powerless. Because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two different battles. The next morning, he tried to wake up early. He failed. He tried applying for jobs. He got rejected again. He tried working out. He quit after 2 days. And every failure made the voice in his head louder. "You'll never change. You're too late. People like you don't win." Weeks passed, and Daniel stood at war with himself every single day. Part of him wanted to fight. Another part wanted to give up forever. Then one night, something happened that shook him deeply. He visited his mother unexpectedly. When she opened the door, she smiled warmly. But Daniel noticed how tired she looked. Her hands trembled slightly. Her hair had more gray than before. Yet she still hugged him like he was her greatest achievement. While she cooked dinner slowly, she suddenly said something he would never forget. "You know, Daniel, I still see the same light in your eyes you had as a child." Daniel looked down immediately, because he knew she was wrong. Or maybe he was afraid she was right. That night, after she fell asleep, Daniel sat beside her old family photo albums. He found a picture of himself at 12 years old, smiling proudly while holding a school trophy. Underneath the picture, his mother had written, "Never stop believing in yourself." Daniel broke down crying, not because life was unfair, but because he realized he had abandoned himself long ago. And in that painful moment, sitting alone in silence, he made a decision. Not a dramatic promise, not some loud motivation, just one quiet decision. "I will not waste my life anymore." The next morning, Daniel woke up before sunrise. For the first time in years, he made his bed immediately. It seemed small, almost meaningless, but to him it was proof. Proof that he still had control over something. Then he cleaned his apartment. He updated his resume. He went for a short run even when his legs hurt. Every day was difficult. Some mornings he wanted to quit again. Some nights he still felt like a failure. But this time he kept going anyway. That changed everything. Months passed. Slowly, Daniel became stronger. Not overnight. Not magically. But painfully. Real change did not happen when life became easier. It happened when he learned to continue despite discomfort. He found part-time work first, then a better opportunity. He started reading again instead of wasting hours online. He stopped comparing his life to others. He learned discipline when motivation disappeared. Most importantly, he forgave himself for the years he lost. Because he finally understood something powerful. Your past may explain your pain, but it does not have to control your future. One evening, nearly a year later, Daniel took his mother to a small restaurant near the park she loved. Nothing expensive, nothing luxurious. But while she smiled across the table, tears filled Daniel's eyes. Because for the first time in many years, he felt proud of himself. Not because he became rich, not because life became perfect, but because he fought his way back. Back from hopelessness, back from excuses, back from the person he never wanted to become. As they walked home slowly under the city lights, his mother held his hand and said softly, "I knew you would find your way." Daniel smiled quietly, because now he finally understood the truth most people realize too late. Changing your life does not begin with money, luck, talent, or perfect opportunities. It begins the moment you stop waiting, the moment you take responsibility, the moment you decide that your pain will no longer be greater than your purpose. And maybe right now, someone listening to this story feels stuck exactly the way Daniel once did. Maybe you feel tired, lost, broken. Maybe you think you've wasted too much time. But listen carefully. A bad chapter is not the end of your story. You can still rebuild your life. You can still become stronger. You can still change. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Today. Because the life you dream about is waiting on the other side of the decisions you are afraid to make. And one day, if you keep moving forward even when it hurts, you will look back at this moment and realize it was the beginning of everything.